You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Welcome to Smart Sex, Smart Love. Where talking about sex goes beyond the taboos and talking about love goes beyond the honeymoon. I'm Dr. Joe Court. Thanks for tuning in. Hello and welcome to Smart Sex, Smart Love. I'm Dr. Joe Court. And this week, on this episode, I'm joined by certified AASECT sexuality educator, presenter, and author, Brian McNaught, to chat about intimacy and LGBTQ older adults. 40% of Americans aged 65 to 80 are sexually active. Before COVID containment, sexually transmitted infections were on the rise in nursing homes. Even if they're unable to perform sexually, most older people never lose their desire for intimacy in whatever form it might take. Named the godfather of gay diversity training by the New York Times, Brian McNaught is considered one of the world's leading corporate diversity consultants, dealing with lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer issues in the workplace. He's also the author of 7 books on LGBTQ issues. When services are created for LGBTQ older adults, we think about their physical and emotional health. Before the social distancing of the pandemic, they had planned get-togethers and outings. Does it occur to us, though, that maybe we're failing to address a most important component of seniors' emotional health, the need to feel intimacy? Let's discuss this. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you, Joe. It's great to be with you. Detroit.
That's right. You're from here.
Yes, I am. Born and raised.
What year did you move away?
1976.
Wow.
Went from Detroit. So I was 28. 1976 went from Detroit to Boston.
Okay.
And
all right.
There I met Ray, and 44 years later, we're still together.
I know, that's so awesome. You're such a role model to me and so many people in so many ways. And I just want to tell the story of how I met you, because I didn't know you in the 70s or 80s.
Were you born?
I was 63. I was born, but I think because you were speaking to Catholic, was it a cat doing more?
No, actually, Joe, it was in all the newspapers and radio stations in Detroit. After the Catholic Church dropped my column and I went on my hunger fast, every top radio and TV show host wanted to talk about it. And so you would have had access that way, but maybe because it was Catholic oriented. But as gay, I mean, you little gay kid, you must have heard the word and wanted to listen.
Yeah, I don't know. I just remember you mostly in it was 93, I think, when your PBS special came out, right?
Well, actually, before that, Joe, I did a video called A Conversation with Brian McNaught on Being Gay, and that aired on a lot of TV stations. And then a PBS station in Denver filmed 3 programs with me that started airing across the country.
Oh, wow.
But whatever. So you came up to me in Provincetown.
I first I couldn't. We saw you first somewhere at the Muse, actually. Oh, and okay. My husband was like, "Go up to him. It's okay." And I'm like, "I can't do it. What if he's doesn't want people to come up to him?" You were a celebrity to me. You were like the Gloria Steinem to gay men, or to LGBTQ that she was to women. Really pointing out to me just like how unfair things were and how heteronormative things. So then we went somewhere else. It was at the other end of the strip of Provincetown.
Yeah, we were at Boobala's.
Oh yeah, you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
You
came up and you told me that you thought I was the Gloria Steinem. You made my year.
Oh my God, I'm so glad I did, because you made mine. And then after that, we exchanged. It was before the internet, before email. And you said, I had told you I was writing for the Jewish News, and you were like, well, send me some of your writings. And I thought, yeah, he's being nice. And okay. So I did. And I thought I'd never hear from you. And you freaking not only responded, but you hand wrote. You didn't even type. You hand wrote your note back to me. I could cry just remembering that.
That's great. Did you save that?
I did save that. I have it in a box.
Good. Yes. Good. The Stonewall National Museum in Fort Lauderdale collects all of that. Ray and I have donated a lot of really rare LGBT artifacts, like a one of 100 copies of Walt Whitman's work where he crossed out type and wrote in his own handwriting a change he wanted to make at the last minute. Really cool stuff. So all of your stuff, Joe, and I think I've told you this before, you need to save.
Oh,
right?
I'll definitely do that. You have told me that before.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. Let me tell you how I got onto the subject of seniors. I'm a volunteer with a friendly visitor program. Before COVID containment, we would go visit in person older gay men, usually, who asked for help from SAGE, Senior Action in a Gay Environment, and from the South Florida Institute on Aging. So I signed up, met this guy whose husband had just died. He was a mess because he didn't know how to do anything. His husband had done everything electronic, paid all the bills, so he was a mess, which is not uncommon. 82 years old. They'd been together 48 years. So I started working with him initially, just letting him cry, and then, helped him get, know how to do the cell phone and retrieve messages on the internet. And then he said to me not too long ago, he said, I'm lonely. I want to be held. I want to be kissed. I want sex. Am I a bad person for wanting this? And I thought, obviously you're not a bad person, which I told him. I said, it's perfectly normal. But it raised this really important issue for me. I was prohibited by law from telling him what his options were. One, because I represented an organization, right? And two, am I promoting prostitution in the state of Florida? It's illegal, and the John can be arrested also. So I started calling around, and I wrote a column about it, but I didn't make him my client. I just made him my friend. And I talked to a former bath owner, a guest house where clothing optional for gay men owner, and older gay men. I said, what are people doing? Ray and I have been together for all this time. We haven't called any escort services yet. So it raised for me this issue, which I love talking with you about, because you're so good on sexuality and especially gay men and the issues they face. And as well as I do that, there's an unending hunger for intimacy in our lives.
Yes.
And it doesn't, I was with a guy yesterday. I was at the polling booth yesterday, and a guy a little younger than me, 69, I'm 72. He said, well, I haven't had sex in years. And, I haven't had sex in years, but, and there are people who are my age who can't believe that someone like me wouldn't have sex because they want it all the time. I think we're all different, but we all want intimacy, and, Abraham Maslow in his pyramid of needs, sex was down with water and air, and intimacy was at level 3 before self-esteem. So the question that I have, that I'd love to raise with you is, how do we vet services for older gay men and women? But, my focus right now is gay men. Is there any way to vet escort services or male prostitutes, because they're afraid of calling Grindr? I said, what about Grindr? He said, I don't want to be robbed. He said, I don't want to be killed. And there are people who have been killed on Grindr. He said, I don't want to get syphilis. I don't want to get, he was a nurse, so he knew all that stuff.
Sure.
So the question for you and me, and it's not going to get answered in these 25 minutes, but what do we do? How do we help people in need who ask us for help?
It's such a good question because, I do have clients that will pay sex workers, and I can just see people listening to us going, oh my God, why are they doing that? First, it's illegal. Secondly, it's immoral, or whatever they think. And why can't they
blah, blah.
Right. Why can't they just find each other? Because a lot of gay men, older gay men, in my experience, you tell me if it's different for you, are looking for younger. They're not looking for the same age. Do you see that?
Well, this guy in particular was looking for younger. Somebody yesterday said to me, this guy that I was talking to, he said, I would like a good 30-year-old. I said, you do not want a 30-year-old. Do you have any idea what you're asking for?
Yeah.
You know, and my guy doesn't want anyone that he's going to move in. He said, I don't want to move my former husband's stuff, you know, to make room for this person. I have my own habits. I get up when I want to get up. You know, I watch what I want to watch. I'm not looking for that. I don't, you know, I'm not looking for a dating service. I'm looking to be held. And then somebody sent me a post or a link for cuddle. You can hire somebody to cuddle with you.
Yeah. I know it's not in every place. Like we don't have it here, but I know it exists.
Yeah. Yeah. And there are professional cuddlers. And then there are people who just join the organization because they want to cuddle and they want to be cuddled.
People have such negative images because I'm sure people can do wrong with these models, but for the most part, they're not. And, you know, there's nothing wrong, in my opinion, of being a sugar daddy. Let's say that there's a younger man that wants to have some kind of exchange with you. Maybe he's not a sex worker, but it's a financial exchange. Or there's also the whole daddy. You know, daddy. You know, you're a daddy.
They're a great fox. So they're attracted to older, mature men.
Yes.
Who really won't make that many sexual demands on them.
Right.
You know, it's like these straight women who are attracted to gay men because we're safe. You know, they date us in high school and college, you know, with the suspicion that we're gay, but they love us because we compliment their outfits and we don't try to do anything. No. So there are younger gay men who are attracted to older gay men. And I think that's fine. That's not what this is about. And if you want to have somebody that you take on the Queen Mary with you, and you know, and people ask, is he your grandson? Which is, you're going to get asked. Oh, is he your grandson? You got to deal with that, you know. And if you're proud, you say, no, he's my partner, and I've adopted him because that's the only way, you know. I don't know. So yes, let's eliminate the young men who are interested in older men and they want a relationship, and the older man who's interested in the younger man. I'm talking about right now, if we can focus on somebody comes to you and says, help me out. You know, you guys take me to bingo, you take me to the opera, you think that's going to make me happy. What's going to make me happy is that if you can help me find somebody to cuddle with me without slashing my throat.
This is so hard because ethically, as a therapist, I'm not allowed, you know, to share that, you know, to say, go get a sex worker and here's how you find them, you know?
Right. But Joe,
go ahead.
Yeah, Joe, but if I can, therapists, when you were young, broke the law all the time.
Yeah.
And we gay men, you know, it was not until like 2003 that sodomy was eliminated nationally. So from 1974, when I was fired by the Michigan Catholic, to 2003, I was advocating illegal behavior. Right? Mm-hmm. So when somebody from Sage told me, you know, we can't do that, it's illegal, I said, oh, come on, what can you know, I understand that. And I understand if a newspaper ever got a hold of the fact that somebody like me, who is a volunteer for Sage, gave out information on a safe escort, that the board of directors would resign, the executive director would be fired, no one would give him any more money, all because of this, me and that one person. So I understand the limitation, but the illegality of it shouldn't stop us from, you know, helping people.
It doesn't. So I'll tell you what I do. I just can't directly recommend it, but I'll say, I know there are lots of older gay adult male that seek out sex worker services. I'll say that. I'll say, so that's an option. People explore that. I don't know what you want to do, but that's an option for lots of people. So it gives them.
And here are a list of sites that some people go to, because sometimes the person's befuddled and they think, well, what more? Tell me more. You know? Don't just tell me that some people do this. What's the name of the service?
Yeah. So what I do, rather than again, so I know what you're saying about the legalities, but I'll tell them what to put into Google to find those services.
Yeah, that's good.
That's what I do. So then that's up to them, you know.
Yeah. But or clip out the column that I sent you. You know, mimeograph it and put it on your coffee table in the lobby and say, "There's some literature out there you might want to look at."
But I love that you're doing this because older people in general are not seen as sexual, right? And I know that, and it's actually stopped in nursing homes and even other places where older adults are. And you're saying, no, we should be. And it's hard to believe even in the gay culture it's like that, but it is.
Well, you know why people say it's gross? The people who are saying it are young people imagining wrinkled skin that they don't want to touch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or they don't want a wrinkled old hand touching them. That's fine. You don't have to do it. You don't have to be the one that does it. But an older person, regardless of what their body may look like to you, inside is your age and has the same need to be held and touched and loved. And so many older people, women and men, they go, the hairdresser touches their head, and that's how they get their fix, right? Yes. Or a massage. Happy ending or no happy ending. I mean, you buy a pill, to be able to have a happy ending. It costs the same amount as the massage. So, it's ridiculous that Viagra costs what it does. But we need to talk about how to make it possible, because like the guy yesterday, and tell me when we're running out of time.
Oh no, you're good.
The guy yesterday said to me, well, you know what? I have prostate problems. And I said, well, I had prostate surgery. I said, so I take Flomax and I have what they call retrograde ejaculation. Well, no one talks about this. That's when you ejaculate inside your penis. The semen does not come out. And so people think that it's not an orgasm, which is a cerebral thing.
Yes.
Or it's not, or you're not having, you're not satisfied. Well, it's very satisfying.
This is like reminding me. Yeah. It reminds me of Joan Price's work, Sex Over 50, working with older adults in sex, but we don't have one for gay men.
No, and I think there's stuff coming out. I saw a book by a guy, but I don't want to. This is not a book about how do you tone yourself up.
No, how do you
to be attractive to whoever?
No.
How do you, as an overweight, bald, not even wealthy person.
Yes.
Yes. So can you go to the baths? And I thought, oh my God, I don't want to say that because I don't want the person hurt. But I called a bath owner and he said, look, at the baths, there's always somebody for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's somebody who is not interested in all the muscles, and they want the heavyset guy who's in the TV room, cursing the election results. I won't go. Let's not go there. So, we just need to tell people about that. And in my column, I wrote a column for South Florida Gay News, but I posted on my Facebook page. I told people what the baths were in Fort Lauderdale and which one has more seniors going to it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and a couple of people who read this said, oh my God, this is exactly what we need, Yeah. We need somebody to tell us about rent boys versus rent men and which is the better for us. And, is there a Yelp for, gay escort services? I mean, can you rate?
I think it's just rent men. And I do know that people talk about it on some of the other apps. They'll say, they'll use words like "I'm generous" or I'll have I'll exchange or I'll buy you stuff, or people will do that. But one of the things that is the biggest risk, and I always prepare the older guys, is there is so much negativity and so much insulting that goes on. You're too old. You could be my grandfather. What are you doing on here? I tell my clients, just put your armor on. It's not.
Well, you know what? You have to do that as a gay man anyway. I walked into my first gay bar, the Woodward, on Woodward Avenue in Detroit.
Yeah.
And I had a tie on. I didn't know. No one had mentored me. So I walk in, and I look at pictures of myself, at that age. I was pretty cute. So I walk in as this cute guy, and somebody says, "Oh, get a load of the tie." That's, and so
right.
I felt self-conscious the whole night because some person who was insecure and angry or whatever decides to pick on me. Right. So we've had to deal with that our whole lives. You as a Jew and me as a Catholic growing up. Oh my God, he's Catholic. Oh Lord, he's probably, against abortion. Well, I'm no longer Catholic. but nevertheless, I have a few scars from gay men who didn't like that about me.
Yeah, right.
So yes, I know we have to prepare older men. Just I have to prepare myself. I did a podcast for Stonewall that was visual, and somebody said to me, I said, "Did you like it?" He said, "Yes, but I would hold the camera differently. It shows your neck up." I said, "That's my neck. I'm 72. That's the kind of neck you're going to have when you're 72."
Right. This is the gay male community. This
is what it looks like.
Right. But I love that you have a place for people to go. And it would be nice if it doesn't sound like Sage can really do that, right? Or incorporate that into their.
I don't know that they will. I think the person at Sage that I talked to was really interested in keeping the conversation going.
Good.
So it's not like they, squashed it. And I'm feeling kind of encouraged to pursue it. I don't, I'm not an authority. I've been doing a lot of reading on death and dying because that interests me. How do you help older people? And in my area, older gay people, how do you help them make the transition without fear, right? About what's going to happen next. But I'm sort of fascinated now in this in-between stage about, all right, before you help them out the door, why don't you help somebody through their door so that they can maybe have their moment of bliss?
I love that. That.
You conduct all kinds of retreats. Right?
I don't anymore. I did forever. But in the last maybe 5-7 years, I stopped. And I just do more presentations. I got really busy with that. And then the school that I'm co-director of, I'm just too busy.
Okay.
I love
that's our loss.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
That you're not doing it.
Because
I would send people to you. Go to Joe Court.
Oh, thank you so much. And I loved doing them. Loved it. But it was something had to go for me. But to me, that was another place because I could say to guys, all right, so you're having trouble out there. Let's come to these retreats. And you never know who you're going to meet.
Or go to the Body Electric. There are a lot of people, young and old, to go to the Body Electric, introductory courses, older courses. I went to naked yoga for a while down here, and there were like 30 gay men, different ages, that went to naked yoga. It wasn't a sexual thing in terms of, well, there were people who hung around later, but but during the time that I was doing my yoga, down dog and everything, I said, I thought this is great. People's bodies are there. They're being acknowledged as older. And that's, this is what happens to us guys. But I don't think, Joe, we older gay men, and I'm not including you in that.
You can include me. I'm older. I'm 57.
Well, all right. Well, you're young to me, but okay, you are older. I don't think we're mentoring younger gay men sufficiently. But I'm also not sure they want to hear from us.
Well, that's the thing. I always wanted to. That's why I was so drawn to you. You were older than me, and I was like, what can I learn from you? Now that I'm older, I still like to learn from younger too, and older, but I want to be there for them, and a lot of them reject it.
Yeah, Joe, how typical were you? I mean, you're one of the really unique kind of gay men who come along, who's interested in our history, interested in, who are these people? What have they done? What community do I belong to, as opposed to, well, how much are the drinks on Tuesday night?
Right. I'm glad you brought up Body Electric because I do recommend them. Because that is a workshop and it's non-judgmental. You can have any penis size. You can have any body type you want, old, young, and it's all very sexual, but appropriately sexual.
Yeah. My only problem, I have to say this, because it's not Nirvana, is that when I went, and we got paired up, not who we wanted to be paired with, but, we got paired up. And I got paired up with somebody that I just did not want to be paired up with. I mean, he reminded me of an abuser and in terms of body type. And so it's not necessarily going to be a perfect experience for you, but it is an opportunity to get naked with other men.
And get touched. Right.
And get touched. Right. Yeah. Right. And I think there are a lot of, I wrote in my column that, if Ray dies before me, I probably wouldn't go to the baths. I'd probably go to some gay spiritual weekend, where we got naked and got in a sweat lodge and and ate magic mushrooms. And then all of a sudden we were touching.
Well, I'll say this and then we have to stop. I have people be able to find you. But there's also Mankind Project, mkp.org.
I went through it.
Bisexual reach out. Did you do the gay bisexual?
I did the Warrior Weekend.
Yes.
I was the only gay man in the whole group.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And the oldest person in the whole group.
Did you get something out of it, though?
I did. I did. Although my only problem with the Mankind Project is that that in order to continue existing, it pushes.
Oh, I know.
Education, training, recruitment, etc.
Yeah.
And Joe, we only got naked in the Mankind Project for like 15, 20 minutes.
Right.
Where we sat in a circle. And they said, we're now going to talk about sex. You each have 2 minutes. And I said, are you crazy?
Right.
Are you nuts? That's the issue we should have sat down with when we arrived.
So there needs to be a workshop like that. Maybe you and I might co-create that.
Well, the Sex Camp, the book I wrote, Sex Camp, talked about the experience at Thornfield. And if anyone wants a fun sex ed experience, and go through a whole week of affirmation. It's free on my website. It's called Sex Camp. Awesome. It's lots of fun. It's my only novel. And I know you're going to tell everyone this. So my website is www.brian, BRIAN, hyphen or dash, not underscore, McNaught, MCNAUGHT.com. And there's all of my videos are free. I've got 7 free videos there. About 6 of my books are free. I have a few more books out now, Joe.
Yeah, I've seen it, watched them.
Yeah,
and you're very generous to be giving this away.
Well, why not? For a while they were for sale, and I made back what the publisher wanted to. So I thought, I'm buying back the rights, and I don't want money to ever be an issue for people. You know what the problem with that, Joe, though, is if you say something is free, people don't think it has any value.
I know.
They have to pay $20 before they think it's worth reading. And I think, what are you, nuts? All right, I'll go back and sell them again if you want.
Well, listen, I could talk to you all day. We do have to stop. I'm glad you told people where to find you. I'm so thrilled that you came on the show. Maybe we'll do another one.
I'd love to. I
really would.
Time with you.
I know. I love it. I knew it would be good, and it was. And I just want to tell my listeners, thanks for listening. If they're looking for me online, they can go to Dr. Joe Court on Twitter and also on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. And I'm just so glad you got a chance to listen to Brian today. And everybody stay safe and healthy. And see you next time. Thanks for listening to this episode of Smart Sex, Smart Love. I'm Dr. Joe Court, and you can find me on joecourt.com. That's JOEKORT.com. See you next time.